the Usos, Solo, and Paulo come out, and there's lots of milking, and then Paul starts speaking, and music plays, and here comes the Judgment Day, and they do the big face-off. And they did a face-off for quite a while. And as a matter of fact, I like the little thing they did where Rhea and Solo kept eyeballing each other, and Paul reaches over and switches places with Solo and one of the Usos, and then Ripley switches places with Finn, so they'll still be staring at each other. But they've made a short-term deal, apparently. Paul mentioned that short-term about 4 or 5 times. Says if there's a heaven, none of us are getting into it, but we're going to make a short-term deal, or we have made one. The Usos didn't know about this because Roman made it with the Judgment Day, because Roman didn't want anybody to know besides Solo. And obviously there's another loose end with the Bloodline story, but Paul said that Finn Balor wasn't particularly all good with the deal, so they've got that going with them. But basically, Solo's going to deal with Rey Mysterio, the Rey Mysterio problem, and Judgment Day is going to fix Sammy and Owens and Riddle. And that's the arrangement that they've made. And Paul did the whole thing, and it took a while because, did we mention, it's a 3-hour program, and nobody gets in a hurry. That's another thing. You asked me, what did I learn from... Well, I learned this before I went to work for the WWF, but it was still applicable and possibly even more adhered to than in the days of WCW or Crockett. Your television time is valuable. I mean, maybe now they don't consider it valuable because they've got so much of it. But if we wasted the time in those days that they waste now, Vince would have been screaming, do something, get to it, get to action, get to point, get to something. And then Paul, at the end of this thing, actually introduced Rey Mysterio, and here he is, Rey Mysterio, and he comes out and makes his entrance, and we go to the break so that when we come back on the other side, we can see Rey versus Solo. But is that the first time you can remember that the heel manager actually introduced the babyface opponent?
Makes sense, because I think Heyman was also the first one I saw a heel manager pitched a commercial. Remember one time he was in the middle of the ring with like Roman Reigns on SmackDown. He's like, and we'll be right back after this. And it went to commercial. I like, you know what? It went on too long, but everything on this show does. At least this was intriguing. Not a fan of Balor with the Judgment Day. I think it becomes more and more obvious that there's something there, especially Priest, who's really stepped it up. He seems more and more like a top guy lately. It's the way he's been dressing, the way he's been acting. Rhea has never seemed like more of a star, and she's great. And Dominic's the perfect little shit heel. There was so much intrigue about them and the Usos and Solo squaring off. They need to do something new with them. So it's intriguing knowing that nothing ever stops at the end of the episode to think what could be coming in the future between potentially the Bloodline, whatever that is, and the Judgment Day, if anything.
Potentially, allegedly,